In this video, I'm going to give you a complete breakdown of the best lockdown coverage in college football 25, cover 4 quarters. We're going to go over why you need to add match coverages to your defensive game plan. I'm going to show you how you can implement a full real defensive scheme that was one of the most dominant defenses in college football history. And we're going to break down all the rules and assignments you need to know if you want to run quarters effectively in college football 25. Then lastly, we're going to break down clips of me using quarters online so I can show you real examples of how good it can be. But first, we got to look at what match coverage actually is. It is a defense that has defenders playing zone, but then they're reading receivers and they will either man players up and lock them down, or they can become free to double team and bracket other players, or play zone looking for work and helping on anyone who comes into their area. And this can lead to confusion and a ton of mistakes on offense. Now, the reason you want to use match coverage based defenses is because they're swiftly becoming a go-to defensive strategy in both college football and the NFL. They provide an excellent framework for defending against the spread passing attacks that are dominating football at the moment. And in my opinion, implementing and mastering them in college football is the best way to play defense. In our match coverage scheme, we'll usually start with 2 safeties back. This allows us to implement a wide range of coverages, and we can be much more multiple defensively. Match defense is an aggressive defense approach specifically crafted to grant us a numerical upper hand in our pass defense, where we can bracket and take away route combos that you can't in a normal zone coverage. Now, the brilliance of match coverage is its capability to neutralize deadly deep route combinations without resorting to zone drops. Not only can we counteract deep corner routes by matching them, but we can also employ double teams, effectively eradicating these routes. Additionally, we can get double teams on deep crossing routes, neutralizing 2 of the most difficult and most utilized and abused routes that you will see in this game. And overall, this can just help us limit many of the go-to plays and route combos that are usually open but won't be versus our coverages. Then playing with this match scheme is built for players who love the X's and O's side of football. You need to be very aware of your individual assignment on each play and what match defense you should be using against every offense you come against. This heightened awareness not only refines your ability to play defense, but it also enhances your comprehension of football in general and will give you a much deeper understanding of current NFL and college defenses. Now, this is a part of my match coverage game plan that is all inspired by the GOAT Nick Saban and his legendary run at Alabama, where he has led the Tide to become the greatest dynasty in college football history. Over the last 7 to 8 seasons with Saban at the helm, the Tide evolved into a 4-down lineman-based defense with a nickelback on the field that Saban would refer to as his star position. Then the Tide run an insanely advanced match coverage scheme that he refers to as his cover 7 group of coverages. This gives him an insane amount of checks and options to answer whatever the offense is trying to do offensively. Today we are breaking down cover 4 quarters, but we do have a ton of other match breakdowns on the way, and I'll let you know when you should be using each one to ensure that you have answers to whatever offenses throw your way. Now, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for my whole Saban defensive scheme for you to check out, and you can watch everything else that is out for this scheme, and it's going to include a ton of blitzes, run defense, and some other really advanced match coverages. Now, we are going to be breaking down quarters versus 2x2 sets, and this is going to be my go-to defense whenever I play these offenses. We will be also touching on 3x1 sets, but I do prefer palms against those looks, and we'll be breaking that down in an upcoming video. So first, when I say 2x2, I mean 2 receivers on either side of the ball. This can be a spread look with 2 slot receivers on each side. Then it can also be a 2x2 with a slot on one side and then the other an inline tight end. Now first, let's look at the 2 outside corners. When talking about match coverage, you will hear me say read 1 to 2 to 3 or 2 to 1 or anything along those lines. What that refers to is 1 will always be the outside receiver on that side of the ball. Then we work in, so 2 would be the next receiver inside, and then if there is a trips look, the next receiver in would be 3. So if you're outside corner, he is always going to read 1 to 2 in quarters, and he is going to play what we call mod. This refers to man on demand. This means if number 1 goes vertical up the field, so anything 5+ yards, then he is going to turn into man coverage and lock him up wherever he goes. So that is a mod call. Then if 1 goes shallow, so a hitch or drag across the field or anything under 5 yards, he is going to look to 2 and help on him. So if 2 goes vertical on a corner route or a seam route, then he's going to help the safety lock him down. Then lastly, if 1 stays shallow and so does 2, then the cornerback is just going to drop back and play a deep quarter zone. Next, we have our 2 safeties. Now they are going to read 2 to 1. So same thing. If 2 goes vertical up the field, 5+ yards, then the safety will just play him in man coverage all over the field. But if 2 runs anything shallow, his eyes will look inside to 1. And if he runs anything vertical up the field, like a post or a crosser, then he is going to bracket 1 with the corner and help take that deep in away. So then if number 2 stays shallow or stays into block, then the safety is going to look to 1. And if he runs a streak up the field or stays shallow, then the safety will be just free looking for work over the middle, and he can help if there's a crosser coming from the other side of the field. Next, we have the quarter flats. Here, their job will be to jam 2 as he gets vertical. Then he will take the first player to the flat. Could be 1 hitching up or the running back coming out of the backfield. Now, if 2 doesn't go vertical but goes straight out to the flat, then this quarter flat will just go right to the flat with number 2. The only time that he will get vertical is on wheels. So if number 2 runs a wheel from the slot, they turn into man coverage, or if a running back runs a wheel out of the backfield, then same thing, he will just match this player up the field. Now for the 3 receiver hook in the middle, he is going to be mostly a free defender looking to help on any routes coming over the middle without a superset role in 2x2 sets. But his major thing he will look for is he will take the second player to the flat. So if the running back runs to the flat, the quarter flat takes him. Then if there's a receiver coming from the other side of the field and going to the flat, then the 3 rec will pick him up. Now really quickly, let's look at 3x1. But remember, this isn't my preferred way to play these looks. I like palms, but this is good stuff for you guys to know. So 3x1 just means 3 receivers to one side and a solo receiver backside. Now looking at the trips first, and the safety on the trip side along with the cornerback and the quarter flat on that side play the exact same rules as 2x2. So we're really not going to touch on them. We're only going to really focus on the players that play this differently. And we are really going to focus on the backside safety. His job is to take the number 3 player on the trip side if he goes vertical 5+ yards. So any post, streak, crosser, or corner route, then this is his guy. Now, if this is just a vertical route up the field, this isn't that bad for their safety to get there. But where it can be a really tough cover is if this number 3 player runs a corner route. Now he has to come from all the way the other side of the field, and it can make it a really tough cover. And this is the main reason I like palms. But then if the number 3 goes shallow, then he just looks to the backside solo receiver. And if he goes vertical, then he can just bracket with the corner. Then we have the solo receiver. Now this is how he's going to play with a split out solo receiver, not an inline tight end like in a trips tight end. They will play this a little different, but that's for another video. Here, if it's a split out wide receiver, he will play mag. This means man everywhere he goes. So it doesn't matter what route he runs. It could be a shallow drag across the field, or it could be a deep streak down the field. He will take him. Then for our quarter flat, he has man coverage on the running back wherever he goes if he leaves the backfield. So that can be vertical straight down the field. The linebacker has to turn and run with him. Then even if he runs out of the backfield and goes to the trip side, then this linebacker still has to run with him across the field. But if the running back actually just stays in and blocks, then this quarter flat is just going to lock down the flat and play like a normal flat defender. Then lastly, we have the 3 receiver hook. And here his job is to really wall off number 3 if he gets vertical up the field. He wants to get underneath of him and take away any quick hitter and then pass him off to the safety. Then he can just come off of him and play his normal 3 rec roll over the middle. Then if you want to take this defense to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now, I have 3 new videos live right now for this Bama defense. The first is where I go over my adjustments I make when I'm running cover 4 quarters and some advanced tips for running this match defense. Next up, I have 2 blitzes out of nickel 3-3 over that you can pair with your match coverage that will look the same pre-snap, but now you can bring pressure in on the QB. Then the third video up today is some really good run defense that is going to do a great job of shutting down those run heavy players. And there is going to be a ton more coming for this Saban defense that will only be found on the site. Then also on the website, I'm dropping my spread to run offense. So far, we have a breakdown for the Chip Kelly Oregon spread, and we're going to be breaking down the Pat White West Virginia team and the Trevor Lawrence Clemson Tiger for this offense as well. By subbing to the site, you're also going to get access to all my Madden 24 content. Then when Madden 25 drops, you'll receive all that content plus the NCAA stuff for one price. So for the site, you can purchase the yearly membership, which will save you $50 over the course of the year. Then I'm also going to be running my Bama defensive sale on the site. This will run until August 27th. Use Bama25 at checkout to get 50% off your first month if you do the monthly membership. And if you want to check out the site, I will link it down below. Now for this Saban match defense, we are going to be running it out in nickel 3-3 over in the 3-4 playbook. And that's what we're going to be running our whole Saban defense out of. But all the match rules for quarters are the same in any defensive formation you use. So you can run quarters out of any playbook, any scheme you are running. And then for this Saban defense, this is a full scheme. So I'm going to have a bunch of blitzes coming, run defense, breaking down more match coverages. So if you want a playlist for everything that you will find for this defense, I will link it down in the description below. And then now I'm going to break down some in-game examples of me using this quarters defense online so you can see how effective it can be. All right, so breaking down some in-game footage, me just showing you guys how effective this can be online. So this is all real clips of me using cover 4 quarters online. Now, the first thing I want to look at, guys, and one of the things that I think you should do if you want to use this quarters defense is user one of the 2 high safeties. So user one of these 2 players. The reason we do this is because we already know what our job is, right? We know the job of quarters. As this safety, it's to read 2. If he goes vertical up the field, we take him. If 2 does anything but go vertical up the field, we are basically a free spot to just help on anything we see. So that is really why I love to user this player. I'm going to go over more advanced tips on Scheme Kings if you're a member of that, or if you guys want to join Scheme Kings to check it out. But the big thing with this, guys, is user this high safety. And once you learn the role, so right here, I have to read number 2. He's going on a drag. So if he goes shallow, I do not need to follow him. I know I have a 3 rec and a quarter flat to that side who will take him. So now I am completely free. I can look to 1, see if he's coming into the middle, or I can look to the backside and I see this drag crosser coming across the field. And I'm just going to double team this player. I take away the deeper option and he goes down with a sack. So just by using that safety, we can double team the crosser coming across the field because our guy goes shallow. Here it is again. So I'm going to read number 2. He's going to go across the field. If I see number 2 stay shallow, anything like that, I'm completely free. So now I'm just looking for work and I see this crosser from 1. So 1's going to do a crosser across the field because 2 went shallow to the flat. So I don't have to worry about him. I'm just going to run with this crosser. Now we can totally wipe this out going across the field. We run with him. Now I'm just completely free. This guy's trying to buy time, then just throws it up and I come over and get a user pick. So by knowing my job and my assignment, I can just play completely free as the user. Here's one more, same thing. So read number 2. What's he doing? Number 2 goes up and out. So though he is going vertical, I know he's running out to my corner. Now I see number 1 go shallow to the quarter flat and 3 rec hook. So I'm just free. Now I'm looking for work. I see a crosser coming so I can help there. But then I see the QB looking like, okay, he actually wants to go to number 1. So look at the amount of ground I cover here. I go all the way from here, boom, and step in front and go the other way with a pick 6. So once you lock down how good usering a safety will be, it can just make your ability to use quarters that much better. Now, the other thing I love about quarters is the ability to take away crossers and corner routes and have double teams down the field on deeper routes. So right here, we're reading with our user and what do we see? On this side of the field, we're going to have number 1 run a shallow route, which means we are going to get a double team with our corner and safety on a corner route out to the sideline. So here, corner routes can be really tough to take away. Here, we're getting a double team on the outside corner with our cornerback and our safety. Both players are there. Either of them could have picked it off and we get a pick going the other way. So we can take away crossers with match coverage. We can also take away, we can take away corners. We can also take away crossers. So here, a crosser coming across the field, boom, and our safety picks him up and our 3 rec. Right? So 3 recs are still part of match coverage. They don't have as specific of a role necessarily, but look at the safeties coming over the top. The 3 rec double teams the crosser coming across the field. So now we have over top coverage, underneath coverage, and we are going the other way with a pick 6. Another great thing about cover 4 quarters is how good of a run defense it is. Now, this isn't my go-to run defense if someone's just trying to run the ball over and over, but if you are playing someone who's in shotgun and they like to run the ball and pass the ball, this is a great run defense. And the reason is we have 9 guys in run fits. And what that means is all these guys, except for our 2 outside corners, are going to play the run first. So these guys are all going to fill down in the run and everybody's going to be playing the run, where some defenses, all your back players are going to be dropping back at the snap. So we have 9 guys in run fits. And when this ball is handed off, both of our safeties are going to fire down in the run and fill in the run game. That is another thing. Look at both safeties come down. We hold this guy to a 3-yard gain because both our safeties are in run fits. Here it is again. Both safeties are in run fits. So here's one safety, here's our other, and they're both firing down at the ball to fill it in. So we have 9 guys in run fits, which makes it very, very tough. And then the last element that can make your cover 4 quarters even better is making sure you guys have some blitzes that you can go to. So in Scheme Kings today, I'm breaking out 2 blitzes that really pair great with our cover 4 quarters defense, because we are going to be starting in a 2 high shell. So it's going to look the same as our quarters pre-snap, but here we're bringing a 0-man blitz. So it's going to look the same pre-snap. We're bringing out our 0-man blitz. I'm going to break down how to run this blitz on Scheme Kings, but here is just the whole concept. So we're running a lot of quarters. They're used to attacking our match coverage down the field, but here we have a 0-man blitz where we switch it up on them and we get 2 free rushers in at the QB for a sack. Here's another version that I'm breaking down that is going to start with 2 high safeties, but now it's going to be a 4-man rush with a user rush off the edge that can just fire in at the QB even though we start in a 2 high shell. So it's going to look the same and we get a knockout at the catch point. So if you want to check out those blitzes, make sure you guys look at Scheme Kings. Now with what you have here for this cover 4 quarter, you will be in a great spot, but don't forget I have 3 defensive videos up for this Saban defense up live on Scheme Kings right now. So you can add a ton more elements to this defense. Then if you want a full breakdown of the idea behind this Saban D and a deep dive into the personnel we will be using for this scheme, then you need to check out the intro video for this D right here.